This true wireless from KZ, it is strangely an irony for me, and I will explain to you why, because this is a good irony actually. So hello and welcome to After Sound Review, and this is my review for one of the latest KZ's true wireless IM. This is the KZ VXS. First of all, thank you for KZ for providing me with this review unit, and it's a true wireless that is using a single dynamic driver, and it costs around $50 to $60, so it's quite cheap. And just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, feature, fit, and then sound quality. In terms of look alone, I actually quite enjoy it because it has this transparent case, but unfortunately this is not glass, this is plastic. As you could see, it's already scratched here and there, but if not directly under the light, you could see that it's actually quite nice. Well, it's all made of plastic, and you just take them off like this. And personally, I don't really like how I put them off from the case, because it doesn't feel like it's really easy to grab them. It's kind of small where you have to grab them. Well, actually the true wireless itself is quite big. As you can see, it's quite thick, and for the faceplate, it's actually really similar to the CCA CRA and also CCA CRA Plus, but it's all in matte black housing. And yeah, it's a little bit on the bigger side. The nozzle, it's similar to the DQ6 type of KZ. Well, the thing that I personally do not like about this build or this true wireless in form factor is more about the nozzle, because you can see the nozzle itself is really short if you are using its default stock tips. But the problem is, and the default stock tips is quite large, so it doesn't really fit in my ear well. It doesn't really go as deep as I'd like to. But the problem is, when you change the ear tips, you cannot put them in its case. Let me show you an example. If I'm using this final audio type E ear tips, personally, when I'm using them like this, it fits much better in my ears. It provides better isolation and also much better sound for me, because I got a better fit definitely. But I cannot put them in the case like this. Yeah, it doesn't fit. You could see it's still moving, and actually it doesn't charge, and I almost cannot close it. So personally, I don't really like that aspect. But thankfully, there is an ear tips from SpinFit, the CP360, that helps a lot with the fit. So personally, I really hate the stock ear tips because it's large like this, it's wide, and it doesn't really isolate my ears well. But let me get you my SpinFit CP360. It does the job really well, just like this. So it's still on the short side, but now I can fit them in the case like this. So yeah, I really recommend you to try the SpinFit CP360, because the default stock tips just feels, it doesn't really isolate well, at least in my ears, no matter what kind of what size I tried. For the specification of this true wireless, it's already using Bluetooth 5.0, and it already supports aptX HD, and then you got 5-hour battery life for the earpiece itself, and total 24-hour total battery life using the case. For me, it's quite nice. And then actually in the manual book, I get 3 tap left for the full power output mode, and also tap right 3 times for low latency mode. But the problem is, no matter how many times I've tried, I cannot try the tap 3 times on both sides. So I cannot try the full power output mode, and I cannot try the low latency mode. It just, I don't know what happened, but I just cannot activate it. So it's only using tap control for pause, play music using one step only, and other than that, I think there's nothing really noteworthy. talking about the sound quality of this KZ-VXS, this is the one that I like to tell you about. This is where the irony is, because for me, even though this is a true wireless IM, but ironically, this is one of the best tuning from KZ that I have ever found. Well, let me explain to you why. First of all, let's take a look at the frequency response. You can see that the main elevation is mostly on the bass to sub bass area, that is quite elevated, definitely there. And then also there is some moderate pinna gain around 3K, but after that the treble is mostly rolled off. So the thing about this KZ tuning is it's like a proper bassy IMs but without annoying peaks, which happens to a lot of KZ IMs. The other KZ IMs usually have this kind of bloated kind of bass and also accompanied with some peaky mid, upper mid to treble area, but not this KZ-VXS. It has great sub bass that could reach deep. Also, it doesn't have that peak, that sharpness that I found usually in other KZ kind or CCA kind of IMs. So this is a proper bassy kind of IMs in terms of tuning, and actually I quite like it. Now let's talk about the bass first, which is obviously this is one of the main sound quality for this KZ-VXS, because it's definitely on the boosted side. And just for disclaimer a bit, I cannot use their stock tips no matter which size. So in this impression, I am using mostly the SpeedFit CP360 because it simply gives me much better isolation and much better fit. So in terms of bass, when I'm using its stock tips, I couldn't really get that sub bass that I actually got in the measurement. But using the CP360, I definitely got that bass. Let me show you. This is the fit. Yeah, it's still on the bigger side of true wireless. It's still kind of big, and honestly, it's not the best true wireless in terms of fit alone, but it's fine for me. At least I have tried them using while jogging or running. It's not really as good as the Mi X20 that I have previously reviewed, but it's still okay if you are using them for walking. Now, in terms of sound, the bass is mostly, I get that really good bassy punch. Even at this price point, less than $100 for a true wireless, I think this is the true wireless that has the most noticeable sub bass. So if you like that sub bass that goes really deep and punchy, and it will definitely suit a lot of EDMs, I definitely really enjoy this kind of sound. Especially if you are talking about true wireless, usually you are using them while you are walking in a busy street. So usually you will need a lot of bass, and you got that here. And this bass is a good bass that goes really deep. And even though I said that, I should also confess that this bass is not really fast. So when you play a really fast rock music or metal music, for example, it doesn't really have that speed or tightness that you would expect when you're hearing that kind of song. But nevertheless, the bass, I really enjoy it. And going to the mid-range, this is also the part where I actually quite like it. This is not ideal, I know, but because it doesn't have any sharp peaks, or it doesn't have a lot of elevation around the mid-range area, so I don't really hear shoutiness, I don't really hear sibilances here. So it's a quite proper warm kind of mid-range. But maybe I should say that I don't really like it's about the texture, because the texture of the vocal, I feel that sometimes is a little bit harsh, a little bit dry in texture. So when I'm hearing some female vocals, I feel that the texture, it's not really as smooth as I like to be. And going to the treble area, maybe this is my least favorite because it's not extended. But in terms of using them for my daily needs, when I'm walking and I'm in the busy streets and I'm trying to use them, I don't have any problem, because again, the most important part for me when I'm using true wireless, it doesn't bothers me when I'm walking. So I don't really hear any picks or any shoutiness or any sharp edges, or that helps a lot, so I could use them for a long time. But in terms of technical, I should say that it's just as expected. It's not really special. I do hear a little bit wide in terms of sound stage, but in terms of resolution and then instrumental separation, I would say that it's almost on the same set as the Moondrop Neko Cake. So it's not really resolving, it's not really clear, it's not really detailed, kind of true wireless. But on the tonal side, I really enjoy it because, like I said, this is a proper warm tuned KZ. It's really different from the other KZ that I've tried, which usually has peaks around upper mid-range to treble area. This one doesn't have that, and this one also have proper sub bass. So yeah, do I like it or not? Even though I have some issues with the fit, and also even until now I cannot get that 3 taps correctly. So, but other than that, when I'm using them, at least for music, for my daily use, yeah, I really like them. But if you are maybe intent to use them for gaming, at least in my experience, it still has this delay problem, so it's not really ideal for those kind of situation. But nevertheless, it's an irony for KZ because one of their best tuning is actually lies in the KZ true wireless that lacks actually a technical ability. So it's only somehow a quite good proper warm tuning, but it doesn't have a really good technical. But as a true wireless, as a daily true wireless that I have tried them for daily use for these days, I really enjoy how they sound, and I definitely could recommend them to you if you like those kind of sound. You like sub bass presentation, you like somehow warm mid-range that doesn't have any peaks, and smooth treble. Okay, I think that's all I could say about this true wireless. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you like, please give like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.